Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today with this 2-page layout. This is a sketch-inspired layout, and this is another one of these sketches for 6x6 paper pads with Allison Davis. That is the left page, and this is the right-hand side of that 2-page spread. Again, the class, quote-unquote class, is for 6x6 paper pads, and I haven't always used paper pads, 6x6 paper pads, but I have in this case. So this is also a bit of a stash bash layout as well, because this Lawn Fawn Into the Woods 6x6 paper pack is actually from 2013, and then I'm going to pull out some other goodies from my stash, some of it from Tuesday morning, some of it just really old stuff that has been sitting in my stash and survived multiple cleanouts. So I've gone through the paper pad here and I've looked for more of the tone on tones, and then one piece of pattern paper that has all of the colors in it, that uniting factor that I like. I have two pieces of cardstock here. I had that bluey gray that I just set aside, and then I have this white. I thought maybe I would try and do something different and try and use a colored background, but I really didn't feel like the colors were going to show and be as prominent on that bluey gray as they are on this white, so I'm going to go ahead with the white. When I work on two-page double page layouts, I like to tape my pages together. I just use artist's tape or painter's tape. I actually use artist's tape, but I've heard Vicky say that you can get it at the dollar store, so that might be an option for you because the artist tape is a little bit more expensive. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to find a balance in these between the dark colors, the darker colors in the palette, and the light colors, and I'm trying not to put same colors next to one another. So you can see I've got that really dark brown, and that's really the darkest, but then there's also that darker shade of blue-gray on the left there underneath the green square, and so I will use those opposing colors there. I'm just going to show you how I stick down a few of those using my ruler instead of a T-square, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump to the end of that just for time's sake. You do not need to sit and watch me literally adhere every single square down. So now I've adhered these squares, and you can see the ones that are sitting off the edge there. And so I'm going to get my mat, my cutting mat, my self-healing mat, and a metal ruler, and I am going to trim these edges down with my X-Acto. Where I have blank spaces, I am going to try and reuse these extras so as to not use too many or not create too many scraps. While I have a very nice scrap bin that I dig into quite frequently, if I can use it, I would like to be able to do that. You'll see that I switched from the metal ruler to this metal edged plastic ruler. For some reason I wasn't getting a clean cut with that metal ruler, and so that's why I switched rulers here. So I've trimmed off all of those edges, and now I am going to go to placing those in to fill the empty spots. You can see there aren't that many empty spots here. So the sketch calls for 6 3x5 photos and then 3 2x2 photos. I created a collage out of my 3x5 photos. So I have a photo collage that I printed together of the left-hand side with the white border, and then the 3 on the right-hand side with the white border. And then, of course, the white border doesn't go in the middle where those photos are going to kiss. I like the white border around my photos, especially when you've got this many busy pattern papers. I felt like it pulled it made the photos stand out from these papers. I also find when you're using a smaller pattern like a 6x6 paper pad, if you use the tone-on-tone papers, you are able to make those photos stand out much better, like I've done here. And then that white border goes with the white border between these squares that also provides a bit of a visual separation between the two. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to have that one space that I've got left open there. I decide for some reason that I'm going to use a different pattern paper on the top and the bottom, forgetting that that is actually a square, and you'll see me realize that, oh wait, what am I doing? But I don't realize it, of course, until I've adhered it down. I realize that, wait a minute, this is supposed to be the same. I could have left it as it is. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know how many people would have noticed that it's actually not the same color in a square. But I did, and so being type A highlighted, bolded, and underlined that I am, I'm going to fix that. And so you see I pulled out two different pieces there. I pulled out two tone on tones, but this is much more brown than tone on tone with the multicolor, and so I am going to go ahead and go with that because, again, I need a little bit more balance between that one gray brown spot and then the bottom spot. I did distress the edges of that brown colored square there, but you can't really see it, and it did take me a long time to do that, so I also fast forwarded through that. Because this is going to go underneath that photo, and because of the distressed edges, I did use double-sided tape to adhere that down. That way I was able to ruffle the edges a little bit more. My original intention, so the sketch does call for a few of the squares to be hand stitched, and my original intention was to actually do that, which is why I lightly tacked down each of these squares and not that particular distressed square, but I changed my mind on it. I felt like there was enough on the layout that I didn't need that added visual of the hand-stitched squares. I did toy with the idea of machine stitching them, but with hand stitching, I like to stitch the pattern paper. I don't like to stitch through the pattern paper to the cardstock behind if I can, and so my intent was when I was going to hand stitch them was to pull them off and then hand stitch them and then tack them back down, and I would have done that with double-sided tape if I had done that. Now, because I'm constructing this layout and I'm have two pages, I did want to make sure that I cut into where the left-hand page and the right-hand page were, so that when I pulled this apart, when I didn't accidentally cut something crooked as I was creating. So that is the base of this layout. That's the foundation. Now I want to go ahead and put in some embellishments and the title. So my original thought was that I'm going to use that cork with some of my LE Studio Jane Alpha dies, and my title is going to be what it is. These shoes were made for walking, and I knew I wanted the cork to be walking. And then you can see those, the here and again puffy stickers, small puffy stickers. And I thought that that was going to be these shoes were made for walking, or these shoes were made for part of the title. It does call for a long title, but as I was laying those down, and you'll see, you couldn't distinguish or I didn't think you could distinguish these shoes were made for walking. And so I end up changing the color of that, and you'll see that coming. So these dies are from LE Studio. I absolutely love these. I love the stamps that coordinate with them, and I do a lot of my title work with this. What I like about these dies is that you can customize them. Like I am using cork here. How cool is that? I could have used the brown pattern paper, which also would have looked really good. Any of these pattern papers I could have used, but I like that I can coordinate and get a personalized look for each of my layouts with these dies. And if I wanted to personalize it even more, I could have stamped over them. And I thought about using the polka dot stamp or the outline stamp of walking to make it stand out a little bit more, but you'll see. So the rest of this layout is now me doing embellishing the page. And so that is literally 10 minutes. It took me 8 minutes to do the foundation, and it takes me 10 minutes to put all of the embellishments in. And my daughter will laugh at me because I'll I'll show you the thumbs up on my video, and then I'll turn the video off, and then I'll walk away and go do something, and I'll come back and I'm like, oh, this would look really good here, and then I will do the same thing multiple times. And I often say to her, it's not about how much is on there, it's about how it supports the story. And so I have come back multiple times actually into this layout and tried to not put as much on here as, sometimes you feel like you need to use the stuff because you have the stuff, but it's really not about using the stuff just because you have it. There comes a point where there is balance to this. So what I've done while I've been rambling on about that balance is I have pulled out some of my old Ellie Studio kits. The sketch calls for a rectangle of journaling up here where I'm about to put these goodies on this top right side of the layout. Only I don't have a rectangle that I like, and so I'm going to substitute that with the tops of these 3x4 journaling cards from Ellie's Studio. I have, because of the way that I've adhered this down, I no longer have created a way to be able to put a pocket behind the photo. So I am very carefully pulling this up, and I'm going to slide that glassine bag. This is a trick that I very, very frequently do. If I feel like I've adhered the photos down and I can't put that create a pocket, I will use a glassine bag for a pocket for hidden journaling. And again, it's not hidden journaling because I don't want you to see what it is that I am journaling about, but more because A, I don't want to disturb the visual balance in the page, but also B, because I have not accounted for leaving journaling on the page, and that's just a better way of doing it. These are, so you can see, a lot of these goodies are from Tuesday morning, so this is some Tuesday morning stash busting. These are from Jed Hadfield, the flowers, and I really liked them, but there's something about hiking and muddy hiking shoes that just, they're not floral. There's nothing, florals and hiking don't go together in my mind. And so I'm going to take them off, and I've got those really old gold foiled leaves from Studio Calico. They are the right color palette, and they're kind of outdoorsy. And so it's greenery, but not necessarily floral. I think of florals as dainty. I think of hiking as a little more less dainty, let's just say. So I'm going to put trios of those. I have some goodies from October afternoon, which are not from Tuesday morning. That's just from my stash. The problem that I found with the October afternoon goodies is that October afternoon is cream in color, whereas my Ellie Studio and the Lawn Fawn is white in color. And so I want to stick with the white in color because that cream sitting next to the white just kind of, it makes it look like that October afternoon is antique and vintage and has yellowed, which is not the case. Sometimes you can get away with putting cream and white together, but it just depends on what it is. So these are some embellishments from, Becky Higgins. What's the, where you do the pocket pages, the original pocket page? Oh my goodness, Suzanna is having some word finding problems. It'll come to me. I'm not going to and on over it, but Becky Higgins and her pocket page system, that's what these embellishments are from. And so they are outdoor embellishments, and they are almost the exact right color palette. And so I am going to end up using a good chunk of those. I like that there's also gold foil in those, which go with the gold foil Studio Calico goodies that I have used there. I've run out of adhesive, so I'm going to go ahead and stick some new adhesive. That's what I love about these ThermoWeb Gina K adhesive dot applicators is it's easy to just pop a new cartridge back in. Project Life, by the way. So those tags I did before I created this layout, I had used them for something else, and these were a few extras that I had. So that is Everyday Explorer Company, a new stamp company that you've seen a lot of from me recently. They are new to me, but as you can tell, as much as I've used them lately, I absolutely love them. So it's kind of a build your own tag kit. You stamp the tag. There's various different sort of tags. And then I stamped the solid bar at the bottom. And then there's phrases that you can put in there. And there's a phrase on the left, something about being outdoors, I believe. I don't have the layout in front of me. I'm sorry. I have the sketch in front of me, but not the layout. And then I'm going to stamp another sentiment on that tag to the top, and I'm going to leave the one on the right hand side to put journaling in and not put a sentiment in that. So I'm kind of just playing with some symmetry in the trio of embellishments around the page. I have that dark camera there to the left because there's shadow in my leg in those purpley gray shoes. I'm the only one without dark shoes there. And then there's also the black shoes that my daughter's wearing and the black underneath of my husband's sneakers. And so I wanted to have a little bit more black, something darker again for balance in that page. So that is the cork that I stamped. The cork is sticker. So all I had to do was peel the backing off of that, and it's a good sticker. It's not one of those stickers like Thickers where you often feel like you have to put extra adhesive behind it. So looking at this as I edited this video, you can actually see those letters where I was going to put these shoes are made for walking, but I really like the Cosmo Cricket tiny type stickers that I'm going to end up going with. So I have pulled a bunch of embellishments that have possibility, but I haven't really found a home for them. So I'm going to do the embellishment shuffle for a little while and figure these things out. Again, if you follow my work, you know that I don't just like to just throw embellishments on a page just because I have them. I do really like them to serve a purpose. And so I'm trying to find balance between the three clusters, with those two clusters in the top right of the page actually being very close. They almost become one cluster. So that I struggle with. And then I have those two speech bubbles, the one that says yep and the one that says good times. And in my head, I feel like I need a third one over where the camera is on that bot, and the title is going to go on that left-hand side. But I didn't have one that matched the color. And I also felt like I was putting it because I felt like I needed a third one, not because the design principles actually called for a third one. So those are the things that I particularly struggled with there. I do end up getting rid of a third cluster of those Studio Calico gold leaves. There's a lot going on in that area where the journaling is going to go, and just because I felt like I needed to have a third didn't mean I needed a third, and so that's why I chose to get rid of those. But by having gold in all of those slots, I was able to make that visual triangle work without having them being same elements all across the page. So these are the Cosmo Cricket tiny type stickers. These are forever old. I don't even know that I see a date on these. There is a copyright date, but there's no way I'm going to be able to read that. So they are probably, in fact, I know they've got to be older than the Lawn Fawn because Cosmo Cricket is no more. So there's the stamps that I was referring to, that stamp set, that Build-A-Tag stamp set. That's not the name of it. That's what I am calling it because it's not in front of me and I don't remember that either. But I love these stamps. They clean so easily and there's lots of variety and option in them. And I love that the packaging, you don't need to buy additional storage for them. They come in some really great storage folders. So I'm just going to stamp a sentiment in there, and that is going to wrap it up, my friends. I will journal. Enjoy the close-ups. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. I do know that Allison is going to run a second version of this course, so when I find that information out, I will be sure to link you up to it, and I highly recommend it. It is 20 weeks worth of sketches with so many options and ideas. Just fun to join other women in doing what we love to do. So take care. Hope to see you again soon.